Hello and welcome, guys. I'm here to do the Gamrot versus Fiziev fight. Welcome and thank you very much for joining me. Radomir Ringwelski says Marina Rodriguez is cold as ice during the face-off by the Iceman. Yes, sir. Yes, she is. I'm glad to be here, guys. I'm really looking forward to Gamrot versus Fiziev. I really think that's an excellent clash of styles. I'm a big fan of Gamrot. I'm not going to lie. I like those wrestler grappler type guys. But I'm also a fan of Fiziev. I'm very interested to see how this fight's going to go. And I'm very interested to see how the first round of this fight's going to go because I do believe that that's what's going to dictate how the rest of this fight goes. I do think that if Gamrot can start to get Fiziev down and start to have his way with him, not even have his way, just get the momentum shifted his way rather, I think that he'll definitely take the fight unless Fiziev catches him with a shot. If my mic's not working. Is my mic working or not? Can people hear me? Okay. Just a second. Just a second. Can you hear me through the mic? It's still through the camera. I'm going to keep talking while I try and fix this. Let me see what some of the people asked. Are they talking about Jacob's disqualification? Yeah, obviously I am biased. I was going for Jacob. I thought that he would beat Brundage. Brundage has a way of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory every time he fights. Usually, though, can you hear me properly now, or is it through the mic? Can you guys hear me properly now? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, usually Brundage has a way of finding defeat, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. But and this time he did the opposite, which I'm very impressed with in that regard. I was definitely going for Jacob. So that whenever I know a fighter or I've worked with a fighter, and I worked with Jacob for years and years since he was a white belt. I haven't worked with him for the last however many years, but so I'm always going for Jacob. You know what I mean? So I'll always go for Jacob. And to me, I picked Jacob to win this fight. I don't see any way for Brundage to win other than catching him maybe with something. And Jacob's stand-up is too tidy and his grappling is too good for Brundage, and whilst the open mat wrestling, I would have given the advantage to Brundage. I don't against the cage. I know what Jacob can do, and it's exactly how the fight played out. I saw no way of Brundage beating him, to be honest with you. And he's had lesser grapplers than Jacob on his back and couldn't do much with it. Having said all that I said, though, it's tough, man. But the Like I can't argue that elbow wasn't to the back of their head. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't say that elbow wasn't to the back of the head as much as I was going for Jacob, you know. So yeah, it is what it is, man. You got to remember as well in those situations, the other guy doesn't owe you anything. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to like take one for the team and fight on. He doesn't have to do that, you know. So he just has to. He's like the smart thing for him is to take the DQ. You know, like it's not whether or not he could continue or not. It's more like, well, he's going to take that. Especially, there was no way he was going to win that either. So he got the W. So yeah, he doesn't owe you. Yeah, he doesn't have to go. Well, fuck. Let me get back in there. Mariana Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson. Who do I think is going to win that fight? I'm going to tell you something just based on not even. I don't know because I think both girls are like 36 and 37. I think that I don't know. That's a hard one to pick, man. Like I don't imagine that's older for fighters, older for lightweight fighters, and it's older for women fighters. So I don't know. It'd be hard for me to pick one of those. Like I don't know who's going to win that one. They're both lost. I'm probably going to have to go with Mariana. I'd say to you. I think that Michelle Waterson's, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at it now. She's lost out of the last 6 fights. She's won 1. You know what I mean? And that was a split decision. It could have gone the other way. Like she's had a few close fights in that. I don't know. Yeah, I know. I can't give you a very solid answer on that one. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, I also don't know what that fight means in terms of the MMA scenario. You know what I mean? Like I really don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I seen that the amount of backlash that Cody Brundage copped from some people and not from others, and it's just an interesting thing. I was going for Jacob, but as soon as that elbow landed from the back, I knew like that guy's not he's gonna take that win. You know what I mean? If you could call it that, but the reality is, you know, people aren't. If you foul someone, they don't owe you to thing. If I'm playing soccer against someone and I like, and it's in a real game, and I fucking touch a ball with my hands, it's not on me to tell the ref. You know what I mean? How are we all? How are we doing? Joe Schmo says good morning. Cooper Marion says, you see the Tim Means fight? Felt like it was a perfect anti-boxer game plan for MMA. I did see it. I thought that was a really good showing by Tim Means. The thing that I think a lot of the times when you see game plans and whatnot, and it makes me think about this with the Adesanya and Strickland fight, like MMA has such a revisionist history culture. I'm not saying that you particularly do, or that what you just said does, but I believe that it does. Like in that, like in the way, say Strickland fought Adesanya, had Strickland have lost that fight, everybody would be absolutely bagging Strickland for the way that he fought, you know. But it's just an interesting little conundrum thing. Everyone has at the back end of a fight, like after a fight, everyone's got an opinion. Randy says, not sure if you talked about this. Do you think that Brundage was soft for not continuing against Malkoon in the prelims? I don't think Brundage is soft, but I do wonder. Like, he's a guy like that's got, you know, he's got a really good pedigree. His parents were athletes. He's a good wrestler. He was, you know, he's built well. You know, packs power, and there was no fucking way that I was picking him over Jacob. Yeah, I am biased, but I wasn't going to pick him because I just think that Jacob's boxing is too tidy, his jiu-jitsu is too good, and this guy doesn't have it across the board to beat Jacob. So I don't see him as soft, but I don't know what it is that he does at training. Honestly, to be fair, because of everything that I said, he's got a great scaffolding for to learn things, and to do things. But his jiu-jitsu is really bad, man. Like it's really, really bad, and I don't see how you can do that. So I was always going to pick Malkoon, and I did not see a way for Brundage to beat Malkoon outside of catching him with something. He wasn't going to out-grapple him. And so not necessarily soft, but that was the only way he was going to win. Like I did not think that he was going to win any other way. So he got the win, you know what I mean? Like he got his win bonus as well. Like what are you going to say to that? You know what I mean? Like that's I don't know if soft's the word, but he wasn't going to win any other way than that. And like I said earlier, he doesn't owe you anything. You know what I mean? He doesn't owe you anything. If there's a foul and you can take the win with the least amount of damage, then that's what you're going to fucking do. Thanks, Oliver. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you can't go and bag the dude for that necessarily. Like it was as a fan wasn't what I wanted to see, but he wasn't going to win that. So, but I've also seen, like, I believe Chris Curtis would have beat Kelvin Gastelum, right? There was a massive head clash in that fight, massive one, and I don't think they stopped it. I don't think they stopped the fight to say this is a head clash, could be a no contest. It was an accidental head clash, and it was by Gastelum. He didn't mean it. But I think that Curtis would have won that fight, and he would have won that pretty convincingly. And then the trajectory of which way your life goes is fucking huge, And Chris Curtis is tough as fucking nails. Like stayed in the fight. Of course, the fight didn't get stopped like that from memory. I don't think it got stopped, but he ended up losing it because it looked like a knockdown. It looked like a knockdown in the fight in the second round. If he then when he fought Imavov, there was a head clash, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was a head clash, and that got ruled a no contest, I believe. And he probably could have continued, but I think he learnt from that, from the last fight with Gastelum, that no, you can't just be like, no, I'm going to keep fighting. No, you got to be smart, man, because your paycheck gets halved, and the trajectory with which your life goes is completely different. Cooper Marion says, I think Cody has a family and kids. I wouldn't say soft. He just made a tough business decision in the moment. I agree with you, Cooper Marion. I definitely agree with you on that. I do think when you have a family and kids, though, I do wonder the guys and I say this to the guys that are coach. I hope you're listening to some of these guys, because I've got a couple of young guys that are starting up and they're going to make waves and they're going to be very, very good. But I do wonder why you have such a glaring hole in your fucking game. Like why you aren't. There's obviously things that are going on with Cody, and I'm not blaming his coaches. Guys, we're off. I was just going to say I don't blame his coaches, because I'm sure that they're doing that they're working hard, but there's glaring holes in his game that I think he needs to address. That's my opinion on that. Because he's a powerful, strong, athletic dude, but his jiu-jitsu is probably like a blue belt level, when his wrestling's pretty good. All right, so we're off. Ramos in the orthodox stance and Jourdain is in the southpaw stance. Nice kick by Ramos to the body, and then goes looking for the head. So he's able to kick the open side of Jourdain, because they're both southpaw to orthodox. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm very, very much looking forward to the fight at the main event. Hopefully it doesn't let me down. These guys are really going at it. Jourdain lands a kick. Jourdain's defending the single leg, now a double leg, now a single leg again from Ramos. Ramos is in pretty deep on this single leg. Jourdain is in deep on the guillotine, but Ramos clears the legs and he's over the other side. Jourdain has to be careful here because he could get caught in a Von Flue or a modified Von Flue choke. I don't think it's going to happen though. He was looking for it a second ago. It was Ramos. Now he's not. So there's no danger of a guillotine here for him unless Jourdain can regain his guard, which he's looking for, but Ramos is onto it. And there is a fucking legitimate danger of Jourdain being caught in a Von Flue choke here because his arm is trapped. He's not going to be able to get that arm out, that he's got that guillotine on the far side. He can't get it out. And the shoulder pressure from Ramos can choke you out from here. This is starting to look a bit uncomfortable for him. As long as he can frame on it, it should be good. Yeah, he was managed to do it, did Jourdain. But that just means that Ramos got the takedown. It once again puts his head in there for that guillotine. He's got the leg trapped here as well. You can do it from half guard as well. You can do it from half guard when the head's there. I don't know if Ramos is purposefully putting his head there to set that up, if that's something, or if he just keeps doing it. But yeah, as long as he passes to the other side, he's all right, like how he is like this. Ramos is grappling, you're not going to catch him in that. Yeah, so the thing I was saying, I think you got because of all of that, I would say to you, Brundage probably needs to make a few changes, not necessarily with his training people, but the way that he trains, I would almost guarantee you. I don't think that, I'm not saying you should go, oh, nice little roll by Ramos. Ramos is good, man, on the ground. He's fucking good. But Jourdain now is in deep on this guillotine. And he's blocked off the far. He's going to get this. He got it. He got it. Ramos is out of there. I don't know. Like with Ramos, I don't know why he kept putting his head there. You know what I mean? Because the way Jourdain kept passing, Ramos kept passing to that far side, which is what you're meant to do. But he wasn't getting him in the Von Flue choke, and Jourdain obviously knew what that was. And so Jourdain had been hunting for that guillotine from the start. So just interesting to me that he just kept putting his head all the way on that far side like that. Very interesting. Yeah, no, I'm not saying his coaches are bad or his coaches or his training or where he's training is wrong. I'm just saying that I don't think he's addressing these grappling, you know what I mean? Like, and for somebody that's got half the job done as far as the wrestling that he has, I don't understand why he's not working on jiu-jitsu itself, you know? Like it's a weird little conundrum thing that he does, you know? So yeah. So yeah, I just don't understand that because there was no way, there was no fucking way I would have bet against Jacob in that fight. Like I just did not see a way for Brundage to win outside catching him. And there you go. This fight should be good. This AJ Fletcher versus Brian Battle, the fight that's coming up now. I'm really looking forward to seeing if he can stop if Fiziev can stop the takedowns. I'm very, very interested to see that. I'm very interested to see if Fiziev can stop the takedowns and if he can get the momentum going his way. That's going to work. That's the only way I see this fight going. I don't see I see it back and forwards, but I see as soon as one of them builds a momentum, it's going to be very hard to take it from the other guy. You know, just because of the clash of styles. Like if Gamrot can't take him down, then Fiziev is going to have his way with him and probably stop him. But if Gamrot can take him down early and start to like slow him down and have his way like that, I don't see Fiziev being able to come back from that. Especially how explosive Fiziev is. Like he's a very, very explosive guy. So a lot of that is you're able to slow him down if you can. So yeah, I was just, and I'm impressed by this Charles Jourdain guy that he just kept going for that guillotine. I don't understand sometimes with that. I was just watching that and I was thinking like it must have been like 4 or 5 times that the dude went for that guillotine in that fight. I like the clash of styles, like in with this, like the pedigree that these two dudes have in the main event. Somebody asked me, who do I think, Bryce Mitchell or Dan Ige? I think Bryce Mitchell will win that fight. Bryce Mitchell is a very, very good fighter, He just ran into Ilia Topuria, who's also a fucking monster. And he's beaten some really good guys, you know what I mean? And Dan is very good as well in his own right. I just don't see. I think that the way that Bryce Mitchell can fight and the grappling pressure that he can bring is very hard to counter. Dan has had a few losses in the past. Evliev, who's nothing, you can't say anything bad about losing to him or Emmett, but they're by decision. And I do think that Bryce Mitchell can bring, at the very least, that, you know what I mean? Like, he surprised me the way that he beat, the way that Bryce Mitchell beat Barboza. That really surprised me when he did that. Like, he just took him to school and it made it look relatively easy compared to even when Khabib had fought Barboza. Like, Khabib was all over Barboza, don't get me wrong, but there were still moments in there, and Mitchell ran through him in a way. Again, I'm not saying fucking before anyone loses their mind, I'm not saying Bryce Mitchell's going to beat Khabib, but I was impressed with how he did that. Let's see. Some people, Ophon says, it was unfortunate when you had to quit podcasting for a while, Fab. You definitely would have made 100,000 on YouTube subs since. I don't know, man. I'm very, very flattered by you saying that, my friend. I had to have not I had to have, but I had 3 kids under 3.5 years old, and then just business wise, I had other things I had to do, and I had to make a decision which one of those things I was going to do. And raising my kids came pretty high there. Now it's for me as a like first time father kind of thing. Like, I had 1 kid, and that was difficult, but then to have 3 under 3.5 was like crazy. You know what I mean? You just didn't have I just didn't have fucking enough hands to fucking deal with it. Plus work, because we just come out of COVID, and so a few things that I had in the back burner, I had to get these projects out, and luckily I did, and now I've got a little bit of time to be able to do some of the stuff that like the podcast. Ophon says you'll make it this time next year though if you stay steady. I really hope so, man. I really hope so. I'm enjoying doing the podcast. I really do. I like doing the statistical breakdowns because I've always done that anyways for fighters that I've worked with. But now I get to do it, like this. So thank you. And guys, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Ophon's greetings to you, SG. Guys, sorry if I missed anyone because I was just watching the fights. Topuria says Ophon says Topuria almost doesn't have enough fights to really judge him properly. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that you haven't seen him pushed in a whole bunch of different ways. He's kind of been able to obviously it speaks volumes for who he is, but he's been able to kind of bully people around in not in a bad way. Like he's just been able to impose himself on people quite easily. Now, is that because he's that good? Is that because I don't know? He's definitely looked very good with how he's done it. And it's hard, man, because you start to compare people to Volkanovski right off the bat, now, and you can't help but do that because he is the featherweight champion, if not GOAT. I think he probably is the GOAT. And like, I can't see anyone there giving Alex a run. Like, I can't see Emmett, Mitchell, Herbert, Ryan Hall, Damon Jackson, Yusuf Zalal. No disrespect to any of them. I can't see any of them giving Volkanovski a run. So you start to compare him to that, and it's hard, and it isn't really fair because Ilya's just a young guy that's coming through, you know. But yeah, you are right. I do think it's hard to have like there isn't the body of work to be able to gauge exactly, you know, how good he would do against the Volkanovski or someone like that, or even on Ortega. I'd like Max Holloway. These guys are fucking good, you know. So I don't know. SG says, have you seen the Malkoon versus Brundage fight? Bit of a disappointing result. I'm laughing because we've spoken about that. You know, we've been on for 25 minutes and we've spoken about that fight about, I don't know, 25 times, you know. Yeah, like I said, I was going for Malkoon. There's no question about that. But I can't say to you, oh, that wasn't to the back of the head. It fucking was, you know. Could Brundage have continued? Who knows? Like, he doesn't owe it to you to continue, though. You know what I mean? This is the thing, that he doesn't owe it to me as a fan to continue. I didn't think there was any way that he was. I don't want to keep saying this or the whole show to be like this. I didn't see any way for him to beat Jacob, though. Do you know what I mean? Other than if he caught Jacob or something with a right hand or something like that. There was no way that he was going to beat Jacob. And fuck. Usually it's Brundage snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. No, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Oliver Aikman says, I was nervous for Volk versus Ortega and Yair smashed both, so I put all my faith in Volk. Oh, I would favor Volk over Ilya for sure. Like, but it's hard to gauge. I don't know how good Ilya actually is, what his ceiling is. Ophon says, I figured it was something with the babies. Yeah. I didn't know you had 3. Thought it was just 2. No, I got 3 under 3.5, you know, and that, and like just work projects that because of COVID, it had kind of been backed up. Like, they couldn't get it going, and then it happened. Boom, you know, they've got a few projects and set up a couple of things, and then I was able to go back to doing this. You know, set up my gym, and now I'm in a position where I can just do my gym and bits and pieces here and there, and I have a lot more free time to be able to, not free time, but I have a lot more time where I can spend time with my family, which is paramount to me, and run my gym and do a few little projects here and there, and I'm in a good position. But a lot of stuff, COVID had really backed up a lot of things that I was trying to do. Ophon says, especially when have those guests with the statistics things. Oh, thank you, mate. I really enjoy doing that. I think that that's a very niche kind of market and audience that is going to be interested in it. But that's what I hope to get, like the hardcore people that are into that. And like, I try and do it about the fights and not get into the and I'm not against people that do this, by the way. I just think that there's different people. Like MMA Guru, shout out to MMA Guru, does a fantastic job of just bringing a different view to what you get in mainstream MMA media. I think that's an important thing, whether you agree with what he does or not. Like, you can't just have one narrative going on because you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not what happened. You know what I mean? It's interesting to have someone come out and say it. And he's going to be better than me at that. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. And then there's guys like, I really like Jack Slack stuff. So shout out to Jack Slack. But his breakdown is more from a technical martial arts perspective. And whilst I do have that area of expertise, I do think he's really good at it. What I feel that I can bring to the table is just the ability to kind of work within almost all of those parameters, like backwards and forwards, and be able to use those statistics. And some of the networks that I have, like people like Sam, who's like a legit mathematician, and be able to say to people, this is what I think will happen. If you go back and you watch what I said about the Strickland and Adesanya fight, not to toot my own horn, but all I said, if Strickland is going to win, this is how he's going to win. I don't see a clear path for victory for him any other way. A lot of people talking about him grappling, and I said, no, if he wins, and that's a way to beat Adesanya, by the way. Like, unless you're a Bo Nickel or a Hamzat, it's different, but you're dyed in the wool grappler, you know? But if you're not, you have to win those early rounds, because if he wins, he always, Adesanya peaks in the second round. His output, and people criticize, like even when Rob fought him the first time, everyone's like, duh, 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 duh. If Rob had clipped him, or he had won that round, or Adesanya's not a fucking joke. At any single point, he could have caught Sean as well, and that's where the revisionist history is ridiculous, you know, because Sean did the right thing to fight him. There's not much difference between a lot of these guys, you know. If you win the first round against Adesanya, he will probably win the second. It's just statistically how he fights. But then it's one round apiece. And you got to remember, it's a 10-point must system. You got to win the rounds. It's not the fight in its entirety. So now you're one round apiece. If you can win at least, now it becomes who's going to win 2 rounds out of the remaining 3. You know, that is how Sean fought him. You know, he pressured him and went forward, and he won the first. If he hadn't won the first, I don't know how that fight plays out, because then Adesanya probably won the second. Do you get what I mean? So then you're down 2 rounds. So even if Sean kept fighting the way that he did, there were rounds in there that were still close. Like, Sean was doing his thing and definitely winning them, but they were close. So that's the way I saw the fight going. And when you see a statistical breakdown, of course you have to apply it, but it really, you start to understand the fights in a different way. And I try to bring that to people, you know, like there are trends that fighters do over years and years and years. And sometimes you watch fighters and there are technical improvements to their games, even tactical improvements to their game. But there's certain ways that a body moves that it just moves the same way. Like, you can see a guy wrestling when he was 16, 17 and go, that's Khabib. You can see it, just the way that he moves. You know, so it's just an interesting thing. Ofon says, they probably don't want Tapuri to fight Holloway because they can hurt Volk's title chances. Yes, I agree. One Willow says, hello, Sensei Fab. Hi, gentlemen. Sensei, thank you, sir. How are you? Yanni versus Pereira. Not fucking Yanni. Yeah, the Prohaska fight versus Pereira. That's going to be a banger, says SG. It's going to be fucking crazy. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Jerry. But I do think that the layoff against someone that starts early with big power like Pereira is not going to be fucking fun. I think that's going to, this Brian Battle guy is good, man. Who do I have in the Pereira versus Prohaska fight? We will definitely do a breakdown on that one. I just think that he's a fucking, they're both beasts, you know, and Jiri has a legit striking background, you know what I mean? He's not just a wild man. But I do think he's been clipped by people with less of a striking pedigree than Pereira, and he's had a year off, at least, if not more. And Pereira's been active, and Pereira's gained momentum, and he's fought guys like Israel and Jan Blachowicz. And so I have to go with Pereira on that one. I have to go with Pereira. Jerry might catch him. I mean, Pereira gets hit as well, you know, but I just, at light heavyweight, I also think that massive weight cut that he does, because people don't understand, Pereira was, he wasn't a middleweight anymore when he came to the UFC and won the fucking belt. His last fights at Glory were at light heavyweight, you know, so I do think that it's better for him at light heavyweight without that massive weight cut. I can't see that being a massive help. All right, so we're off. AJ Fletcher pressuring, switching stances. Nice leg kick by Fletcher. It looked like they were closer. The height and range, man, to battle when you're watching them here in the actual fight is fucking huge. Like compared to what I actually thought it would be before the fight. Front kick by Battle. Battle looking very relaxed. AJ Fletcher kind of looking very jittery and whatnot. The other thing I was going to say is like there's such a revisionist history thing. Like everyone will say, "Oh, Sean Strickland looked nervous going into the Israel fight." One, that doesn't mean shit, anyways, and two, he always looks like that. You know, you can't go like just because if he lost, you wouldn't say that's why he lost. Like, and then I watched my own reactions while I was watching the fight, and my whole thing was like, "Fuck, Israel looks good." And at any stage, I was like, "Fuck, Israel could catch him." You know, I wasn't in that moment going, "Fuck, he looks off." He looked off, but he didn't look off. You know what I mean? He looked off once Sean started getting the ball rolling, yeah. But I thought he looked fucking as good as I've ever seen. Brian Battle hitting Fletcher with some teeps and trying to keep him at the end of his jab. Calf kick by Fletcher gets partially checked by Battle. You got to understand as well with those calf kicks, even if you check them, sometimes you can break the dude's leg or hurt the guy's foot, but sometimes it still fucking hurts you depending on how it hits you. Ofon says it's a unique style of analysis as well. I think in particular with that marriage with Sammy, it's interesting because like it's not like it's someone like Sammy just giving you the stats. So and it's not like I don't have the background to be able to just to decipher the stats as well, because the stats is one thing, then you got to be able to see the fights and understand what you're watching, because stats, that's why it's called stats, in lies, dirty lies, and statistics, because stats is one thing, but if you don't have the understanding and the knowledge to decipher what those stats mean, or the fact that that's not what's pertinent and what's not, then you can't give an accurate analysis of the stats. But then having someone like Sam that can get the stats and break them down and put the tables together and everything in a way that you can format it and understand it is very important as well. So it's a good little partnership. Not a lot is happening in the fight because Battle is keeping Fletcher at range, and Fletcher can't really come in. And when he comes in, he just ate two nice little jabs. But when he comes in, he's he eats some shots and then he backs out, and then he can't really come in to get the ball rolling, so to speak. And he's trying to pepper Battle with leg kicks. Now Battle's starting to take the center of the octagon and come forward. There was a nice teep by Battle on Fletcher. Robbie McKenzie says, "Hey Fab, it's my daughter's 13th birthday today. Can she get a shout out?" Alexis. Man, this is my first shout out ever. I don't think anyone's ever asked me to do that. But for sure, man. Alexis, your dad's a champion. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us. I hope you have a great birthday, and you're very lucky to have such an amazing dad that watches podcasts and is cultured and intelligent enough to recognize what a good podcast is, and that he's asking for a shout out for you. So all day shout outs to Alexis. Ofon says, "Isn't the MMA guru only like 20? He's 25. Cooper Marion says, "Have you ever listened to Heavy Hands? Love their pods and reminds me of Jack Slack." I have listened to a little bit of Heavy Hands, yeah, some of the stuff. But Jack Slack is to me the one of the, like, he was been around for ages. I mean, I think he was doing it like, Brian Battle's in trouble. He's in a little bit of trouble here. There's 21 seconds to go. Yeah, Jack Slack was that's a round, guys. That's the first round. And Jack Slack was he used to do articles, just articles back in the day, and I used to read those articles like, I don't know, but I'm talking about maybe 20 years ago or something like this. Um, so yeah, just an interesting, like, it was always an interesting, educated guy. And I like that type of stuff. You know what I mean? I really do. I am very much a nerd. Ofon says, I was doubting Adesanya when he fought Silva. Later, I realized he was going easy on him out of respect. But after he fought Gastelum, I knew he was super elite. I can assure you this 1 billion fucking percent, he was not going easy on him. I just think that the way that they clashed, their styles clashed, was like what made it look like the way that fight looked. But I don't think I can assure you 100%, because if he had lost that fight, like, the trajectory of his fight career would have gone in different directions. So no, there's no way he was taking it easy. I can assure you that. No way. Oliver Ekman says, Dan Hardy does have really good breakdowns. I would say the best, but Fab is here. Oliver Ekman. We're off again. It's just, and now Fletcher's starting to find his range a little bit. Let me see. Sorry if I miss a few people. Ooh, they're exchanging jabs. The thing is, Fletcher, whilst he's had some success in that first round a little bit, but you can see he's a very white dude, but you can see where the teeps have been landing from Battle into the body of Fletcher. Fletcher looks to be a physically strong guy, man. The way he's just able to put Battle up against the cage, but not really have the success in taking him down or controlling him for prolonged periods of time. Battle does a good job of framing. This would be extremely taxing on Fletcher, coupled with the shots to the body that he's definitely been taking. So Battle looks for a whizzer. Yeah, it would not, like, this is going to be hard. It's going to be interesting to see how Fletcher deals with this after they break off, because he's been eating shots to the body, and Battle just very disciplined approach from Battle as well. Like, he just keeps hitting the body, keeps hitting the body, keeps hitting the body. These shots, they don't seem like a lot, but you're trying to breathe hard. And the way that Fletcher has to fight, being the shorter guy, requires a lot of energy. He has to kind of blitz into that space, try and grab him and hold and that. So Ofon says, at Oliver Ekman, he kept trying to Jiri was getting dropped by people with way less power. Yeah, he gets caught, but he also catches people as well, you know. So this is the thing with Jiri, you know. But I do think that a year and a bit off, you only have to have your timing off a little bit against someone like Pereira, and you're fucking dead. SG says, if Pereira pulls it off, he's easily the best combat sports athlete, probably tied with Cejudo. Yeah, I can't say, like, if you win the middleweight and the light heavyweight world title in kickboxing, and then you do the same thing in MMA, you fucking thing. Guillotine attempt here by Fletcher. I think he's got a 10-finger guillotine, but no, it's not on. I don't think it's on anyways. No, it's not on. He's going to use that to get back to his feet if he can, but Battle has got the control of it here. He's all over. He's going to be all over Fletcher here. Fletcher doesn't have the knee shields up from half guard. Brian Battle is attempting a Kimura. Whether or not he's actually attempting the Kimura, the Americana, or the key lock, whatever you want to call those different ones. It definitely helps to flatten your opponent. It's a really good move to just flatten your opponent a lot of the times, because you have your weight over him and you're also taking away an arm. There's no knee shield from Fletcher, so this tells me that he's probably not that versed in these positions. Even if his jiu-jitsu is good, he's not that versed in this position. He's got an underhook with no shields, and he's going to be able to hold him down for the remainder of this round. Is Brian Battle, so he's going to not only steal the round, but it's just going to be incredibly tiring for Fletcher. I don't know that Brian's going to finish him here. I think that Brian is really fighting a smart war of attrition kind of fight, where this would be incredibly taxing for Fletcher to have Brian Battle on top of him after Brian has absolutely smacked his body around for the start of this round. Yeah, you don't win all those things by accident. And Cejudo's won it in 2 different weight divisions plus an Olympic gold medal. I think an Olympic gold medal is still 45 seconds to go. Brian Battle's looking for the back. I don't think he's going to finish Fletcher in this round, but no, he's got it in. It's under the net. Yeah, he's got it. He's got it. Yeah, it's done. It's over. He's gonna get him. 30 seconds to go. Yeah, it's over. And that's a good performance by Brian Battle. No, I don't. I think an Olympic gold medal, if you can win an Olympic gold medal and then win 2 divisions in MMA, Olympic gold medal is ridiculously hard to get. I have to put that above a glory title. It's just not, people don't understand. Like, say, for example, if you win, you would have had to win, you would have to be the best in your state. You would have to win nationals. Then you have to make sure that you qualify, right, for the Olympics, that weight division qualifies. So you have to qualify that position for your country, right? And then you have to compete, and you have to compete against the top tier of people. So I give the Olympic gold medal more weight, unless if Pereira wins the light heavyweight title, miss me, who am I? But I'm just giving my opinion on it. If Pereira wins the light heavyweight title, I'll put him at a draw with Cejudo, because Olympic gold medal is something that's not, people don't understand what you have to do to win an Olympic gold medal. It's not even fathomable for people. You know what I mean? It's not fathomable. Like, to win a US Open or a Russian Nationals is insane. You know, it's a fucking high level. And then to qualify that spot at Worlds, right? Or like, to qualify your spot at Worlds means you had to reach a certain level already. And then to go to the Olympics and win all your brackets against the top dogs is different level. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a few. Cooper Marin says, have I subscribed to Slack's Patreon? I haven't subscribed to the Patreon, but I've been reading his stuff from fucking forever. You know what I mean? So I've followed that for a long time. Ofon says, fair enough on Izzy versus Adesanya. I don't know what that means. Sorry, let me see. So I have to skip a few. Let me see what we have here. Ofon says, Fab, I think you're underestimating the car repair work Pereira used to do when he was young. I'd have to rank that above a gold medal in wrestling. I think the stories, but both Cejudo and him, the stories that they have are really interesting, man. If you understand the story, like, Pereira's story is incredible, and Cejudo's is rough as well, you know. They're both really interesting, you know. They're both really interesting, the story that they have. So yeah, that Brian Battle, man, the way he fights is very good. He won that season of The Ultimate Fighter, but I'm pretty sure he has a win over what's his name? The guy at middleweight, the guy that just beat Andre Petroski. I'm pretty sure he has a win over Andre Petroski. Let me just check in the house at least. And Andre Petroski is a solid fighter. I don't think we'll see him do some of the things that he could probably have done. Like, I think, but he's solid. He's a very solid fighter. Yeah, he beat Andre by guillotine in the second round in the house, I believe. And so he's good, man. He's fucking good. This dude, this Brian Battle guy. I think he's a bit of a dark horse in that division. Um, Ofon says Cejudo's dad wasn't around and Pereira was an alcoholic at a young age working in a tire shop or something like that. Both things are true, but I think the thing with Cejudo, he had it like more than it's just his dad wasn't around. It was a pretty rough upbringing. And from what I remember, like he was like a Golden Gloves champion, like Arizona Golden Gloves boxing champion as well. And I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that, he used to fight kids for fucking ice creams and that. And yeah, just like there's interesting stories, man. And it's not just like the hardship stories. I think it's refreshing when you hear people that just own their shit and they're just like, I just grew up normal, like I just I like that, you know what I mean, as well. I find that really refreshing. I don't like when people have to pretend that they have this massive hardship or whatever when they didn't. Like they didn't have necessarily a massive a massively massively tough upbringing. Matt says Shevchenko looked to have wrung the sponge dry against Grasso. Looked like she really gave her all. Do you think she can mentally go through a third fight or likely to fall off now? I think she's getting on a bit in age. Give me 1 second. I'll be back. No, I think that she is getting older, and especially she's like 35, 36, 37, something like this. And especially in the lighter weights and especially for women, it's it's very, very difficult. Like that's not like young, you know what I mean? And it just depends who's coming through as well for her. I think that she's fucking huge amount of hearts. I think the fact that she's so good technically allows her to stay at the upper echelons, So I don't know how much more she can give physically. She's definitely technically good and improving and getting better, but there's a physical thing, man. It's a young person's sport, and you see people just it catches up to them. Let me see what else. Let me see. Sorry, I'm just looking at what Ofon says. There's no shame in growing up with privilege of sorts. I think there's no shame. Like I didn't. I just grew up in a working class background, but my parents. I had brilliant parents. I had for the most part a happy upbringing, and I just look at people that like we didn't have like a lot of money or anything, but I I didn't really experience huge hardships per se. I didn't really like, and I look at people and I think like, why can't you just own the fact that you you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you think so. I like real stories. Like I just like people's real stories. I can't it it rubs me the wrong way when it's fake shit and you can see it and you kind of get a feeling about people and just with the way they carry themselves. It's not it's not genuine, and that just rubs me the wrong way with it. Um, your dog says, "What happened in the Malkoon fight?" Man, we've done this about 1,000 times. Not any against you, your dog. I'm glad that you're watching here. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Jacob was clearly winning, easily winning the fight. And there was an elbow to the back of the head, and Brundage took the disqualification. So in short, Jacob got disqualified. Oliver Ekman says, I had a chick like that in grade school. She said she was poor, but that bitch had 2 microwaves. 2 microwaves is a big deal, mate. Big deal. Yeah, I grew up with a guy that Ofon is writing. I grew up with a guy that if you got a lift of him, he hit you up for $2 every time, $2. And this is when I say $2, man, I'm talking about $2 in like in the 90s. You know who you are, mate. You know who you fucking are. So, yeah, very fucking funny thing. Yeah. So, Marina has a win already over Michelle. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't think this is like a really clear fight, and I don't know where this fight's going. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard to get up for it. Give me one sec. People just thoughts on the Paddy versus Tony fight from SG. I can't see Paddy losing to Tony. Like, I can't see it. You know what I mean? Tony's been through some fucking wars, lost a lot of fights, and lost them in bad ways. You know what I mean? I don't think he should be fighting, irrespective of whether he wins this fight or not. I just don't like. He's fighting a big, strong, young guy. I don't like. It's definitely lamb to the slaughter in my opinion. Whether or not he can win is not the point. I don't think that's the like. There's a possibility of you winning. I don't think there's a probability of him winning. I think that he's taken way too much damage, and you're fighting a young, strong guy, and it is a fucking it is a young man's sport, in my opinion. Not in my opinion, fucking statistically, it's a young man's sport, and yeah, Tony's on the wrong side of 30. Like, that's my opinion on that. I don't think, yeah, like I can't see him beating Paddy. I just can't see that. And not because Paddy's a phenomenal, fantastic fighter. He's just a big, strong dude that can fight, of course. Ofon says, hopefully they give Tony a job with the UFC, better money, not fighting, something in the Performance Institute. Yeah, I don't know about. I don't know. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. That's a kid says, sorry if you have already answered this question, but I've heard some people say the main event was a serious mismatch since Fiziev hasn't fought a wrestler in the UFC. I don't know if it's a mismatch because, like, he has fought guys that can wrestle. He has fought, like, as in, like, he hasn't fought anyone with the wrestling credentials, with the grappling credentials of Gamrot. No, he hasn't. But I don't think it's a mismatch per se, but I think it will be a mismatch. It will look like a mismatch in this fight for whoever gets the momentum going early. So if Fiziev can't stop the takedown early, I do not see him, outside of catching Gamrot, I do not see him winning the fight. Having said that, if he can stop the takedowns early, I don't see Gamrot coming back later in the fight and being able to impose his grappling on Fiziev in any meaningful way. I do think it's about who gets the momentum going early. I don't think it's a mismatch per se. And if anything, I'm pretty sure Fiziev is the favorite. Ray Stone. Welcome, Ray Stone. Guys, keep your eyes open for Ray Stone. He's a professional rugby league player for the Dolphins, Redcliffe Dolphins, and an aspiring MMA player and successful amateur boxer. How are we, Ray? And yes, back then for $2, dude, honestly, this guy, I would want to name him. I so badly want to name him, but I won't. For $2, dude, like I remember I could drive with $5 at a little Holden Barina, and I could drive for $5. I could drive to Cronulla and back in my car for $5. So this piece of shit was asking for a lot of money back then, you know. Matt says, that is my brother. He will ask everyone for money, have sob stories, but will have a wallet full of cash while asking them. That man should be shot. That man should be shot. Ophon says, Gamrot versus Sarukian was such a good fight. That was a crazy fight, and I thought Sarukian was going to win that as a fight. But then as the fight was progressing, that's the thing that makes me look at this fight with Fiziev and go, man, if you can't keep Gamrot off you early and hurt him, Gamrot's just going to keep. The thing with Gamrot is that he's just going to wrestle you. Like he's going to fucking wrestle you. That's what makes it very interesting, you know. And Dariush was like BJJ world champion at brown belt. I'm pretty sure, you know, he won mundials at brown belt, and that's a very, very high level of grappler, and that sort of made it hard for Gamrot to be able to control him on the ground. And he understands wrestling, and he's a fucking brilliant fighter with good stand-up. So that made it hard for Gamrot. Jalen Turner was hard for Gamrot, but Jalen Turner, I do think was on short notice, if I'm not mistaken, and it just shows Gamrot got through some fucking sticky moments with Turner. Oliver Ekman says, super good, dude. I remember watching, I was like, the fuck did they give these nobodies? I was proven very wrong. Oh, no, that was a good one. That was a good fight, Sarukian and Gamrot. Ophon says, yeah, I thought Gamrot got a favorable decision, but it was close regardless. Now, watching the fight, I did think Sarukian had probably won, but it was a close fight. It was a close fight. And this is the thing, man. It's hard to gauge. Like, it is hard to gauge, and you can't just be shitting on the judges. Like, people just love to shit on the judges all day. And the reality is, it's a 10-point must system across 5 rounds. You know, you start to lose sight of who won each round as a fan. Like, because if you don't get a 10-8 round, people don't understand this. If you don't get a 10-8 round, and I just beat you first, second, and third rounds, for example, I just beat you, but I got the nod on each judge's card, and I won 3 rounds out of the 2, and you beat me clear. Like, you beat me clear. Like, you fucked me up, but you don't get a 10-8 round because I do enough to stay in the fight. In the last 2 rounds, I win the fight. People don't understand this. So it's hard to score it, and it's hard to score it live. That's exactly what Ophon says. Sometimes it's like the judges weren't even watching, though. No, 100%, man. There's some fights that I'm like, fuck, what were we watching, gentlemen? But it's a hard job, dude. It's not as easy, and it's not as simple as people say. Because I'll watch fights, and then I hear, like, guys that are, I'm going to say, ultimately UFC shills, you know what I mean? And when I say this, I'm not bagging the UFC, because the UFC is trying to do their thing. And so the guys that are UFC shills, they're trying to do their thing. But I'm like, dude, but they've got a massive following, so they create a narrative. Hence, enter the MMA guru, and guys like the MMA guru that go against the narrative. And I think that that's necessary and needed because it's fucking off. Andrew says, hey, Fab, sorry if this has already been asked, but with the current state in the middleweight division, who would you like to see matched up both between contenders and champs? Interesting question. And I always answer this like this. There's different answers, right? Like, there's 3 different answers. I think, who do you want to see as the UFC? So we've kicked off, guys, both girls in the orthodox stance, Waterson with a low kick. There's a UFC. Who do they want to see matched up? Oh, nice takedown by Waterson. Marina with a butterfly hook in. I'll answer that after, man. Sorry, I just don't want to miss any of them. Good elevation by Marina. Michelle Waterson doing a good job. She's doing a good job of addressing the feet. You got to address the feet. Like, you don't want to have the feet between you and the other person when you're trying to pass the guard, because a person wants to put their feet on their hips and push you off, or even just start working their guard. So now she's in the closed guard is Waterson. I think who the UFC wants to see is one thing. Who I want to see if I was coaching people is different. And who I want to see as a fan, completely different as well. Do you get what I mean? These are very different answers, and no one's in the wrong. A lot of the times people forget the fighters have to make a living and they have to pick what's best strategically for them, not necessarily what's the most entertaining, hardest fucking matchup for me, so that dudes can fucking crush brewskis while they watch me fight. Like, nah, you know what I mean? So I do think they're different things. What I would like to see as a fan, I would like to see a mixing of the blood, kind of like what they're doing with Dalitse and Cannonier. Like, I'd like to see guys that aren't just, because otherwise you have the thing that happened at lightweight where you have these guys just fight each other, and then you have dudes fucking that are on the peripheries of the top five not breaking in and not getting a look in, like a Dariush that fought and had to win like 9 in a row only to go get knocked out at, just before he gets into the title contention. I don't like how much Waterson is reaching to get these takedowns. So she's in deep now. She's not in deep, rather. She really reached to get that takedown on Rodriguez, but now Rodriguez is cross-facing her and defending that, and she did a good job of defending it. Waterson throws a knee in the clinch. Rodriguez throws a nice stiff right hand, and she's throwing knees in the clinch. I think whilst Waterson is fighting and she's fighting hard, big knees. I don't think this is going to go well for Waterson. She's just a taller fighter in the clinch, and Rodriguez is fucking landing shots. No, it's over. It's over for her. She's getting hit in the clinch like nothing else. She's fighting back. She looks for a double leg. She shoots. She misses it. Rodriguez is sprawling on her. I don't see Waterson finishing this fight. I don't see it. She might get out of this round. There's 1 minute 53 seconds to go, but she's going to get her face smashed here. Like, just stop the fucking fight. See, this is what I mean, where there's no fucking point. I don't care if she can win the fight, if there is a possibility of winning the fight. Of course there is, but she's really hurt, dude. She's really fucking hurt. She's busted up. Rodriguez is fucking her up with all different combinations. And I just don't like to see it anymore. She's fucking in her late 30s. I just fucking stop the fucking fight. She's just getting bashed, man. She's getting fucking her head kneed into fucking oblivion, dude. She's getting hit with uppercuts. She's not really intelligently defending herself. Just stop do you want to see her die? Just fucking stop the fight, dude. She's getting fucking smashed. Her face is completely busted up. Can you stop the fight, ref? Please. Stop the fucking fight. It's fucking dumb watching this. This is fucking stupid. She's barely putting up isn't her husband in a fucking corner or something like this? Now she shoots in on a double leg. And it's not whether or not she can win the fight. I don't even care. Like, the amount of damage she's taken, there's 30 seconds to go. Stop the fight, please. They've stopped the fight. There's 26 seconds to go. They're calling in the doctor. Like, they should call in like the Geneva Convention or something like this. Like, this is fucking wrong. Dude, just stop the fucking fight, dude. The ringside physician has come in. He's looking at her. She's got cuts and fucking her face is bloodied up. And they're like, right, she can continue. Has she stolen money off you, ringside doctor? Why the fuck would you let her continue? It's fucking beyond stupid to me. It's not whether or not she can win the fight. It's just fucking dumb, the amount of damage that she's taken. Now she's on the ground, fucking the fact that she's not getting finished is worse. She's getting absolutely fucking smashed. And I've seen her get smashed before in fights, and I just don't see a fucking point to this. I just don't. And that is the wrap for the round. And Waterson is in so much fucking trouble. It's just stupid. Yeah, so I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see like an Aliskerov, a Sharaputin if he wins, an Imavov, and especially Imavov having lost a 5-round decision against Strickland. It's actually aged quite well. You know what I mean? I'd like to see those guys fighting. This is what I would like to see. I'd like to see those guys fighting the upper echelons. A Bo Nickel fighting, not necessarily all the way up. Somebody said a Weidman. I think Bo Nickel's too much for Weidman at this stage in Weidman's career. I'm a huge fan of Weidman. I'd like to see. I would have said if Jacob had won, I would like to see a Brendan Allen and Jacob fighting upper divisions. You know, I'd like to see that. I don't want to see just this like and true to the fact is like people didn't think Dricus could be in that elite. I didn't fucking think he could be in that elite, and now all of a sudden he's there. You know, so I wonder who else you have in those top 10, top 11, top 12 guys that can be competitive in those upper echelons. You know, so I'd like to see a mix to occur. To be honest with you, I don't want to see guys get stuck in the top 8 and you have to win 15 fights in a row to fight, you know, a ranked guy for a title elimination. So that's my opinion on that. That's probably what I'd like to see. I'd like to see like Imavov fight one of the top guys. I'd like to see Aliskerov fight one of the top guys. I'd like to see probably Brendan Allen fight one of the top guys. Jacob Malkoon. In fairness, Jacob Malkoon didn't really lose this fight, so I'd like to see him fight one of the better guys in that division. I'd like to see Bo Nickel fight, you know, maybe a Tavares or someone like that before he goes on to fight. Fucking hell, she's just eating damage. Like, you can't believe is Waterson. Waterson's hanging on. She's not really even clinching anymore. She's like hanging on. And Rodriguez is kneeing her to the body and just having a way with it. It's just not nice to see, man. So that's my answer to that, Andrew. I'd like to see that. Like, I don't. And the champion, I think the fairness with the champion is Dricus, right? Like, I don't think you beat Rob and don't get a title shot. I think, you know what I mean? Like, that's a bit fucking weird. But I think they'll probably, I don't know if they'll give the thing to Adesanya. I don't know. But that's what I'd like to see. It's just she's getting smashed, dude. She's just getting hit with knees, and there's a point where you're no longer really competing with people, and I think that is the case for Michelle Waterson. It's not whether or not you can win or whether or not you can fight or how you feel. This is why I fucking think it's stupid as well. Like, a lot of times people go, we asked the fighters, and the fighter himself said that, and like, they're fucking fighters, dude. You know, if you ask them, should the refs stop the fight? A lot of them will say, no, I'd rather die, or I'd rather go out of my shield. And that's why you don't let them make those decisions. You know what I mean? Somebody has to say, nah, dude, this isn't right. Like, if you're not watching this fight, right? If you're just listening to me talk, yeah, they stopped the fight. Thank fucking God that you stopped the fight. It was like everyone conspired against Waterson, and they had a personal issue with her, and they kept sending her out to get fucking bashed. Like, I don't know, dude. That's like your kid getting beat up by all the kids in the neighborhood, and you just keep sending him out there to make him tough. Like, this does not work, man. This was bad. This looked fucking stupid, in my opinion. It should have been stopped in the first round. It was just an unnecessary fucking beating. It was just stupid. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see in the middleweight division. I'd just like to see different guys fight I don't want to see people just go on the merry-go-round. That's as a fucking fan. As a coach, if I was coaching each one of those guys, it would be a completely different answer. It'd be a completely different answer. I would say if I was coaching, say, Chimaev, I'd be like, you beat Costa, you want a title shot. Campaign for the title shot. Get on the mic, yell for it. Don't fight Whitaker. Don't fight Cannonier. Don't fight any of these guys that have got good stand-up and great takedown defense. Don't. You know what I mean? But if I was another coach, I'd be saying different as well. So these are different things. Matt says, I find it hard to shit on judges sometimes. I haven't watched one live, but you see the videos people take from their phones and just that looks so much different than on TV. Dude, I've been ringside many times. I've been cage side because I've coached people and I've coached people at regional level to, titles, UFC titles. It is completely different to watching it on TV. Do you know what I mean? There's shots that you see people take and you fucking can smell the blood. You know what I mean? You see people's faces change. You see people take shots that when you're watching it, you hear crack on the guy's head and the fucking sweat just explode off the guy's head. Then when you watch that back on TV, you realize you barely even saw that. Or up in the clinch sometimes, like how people are like that. I guarantee you that if you're watching that fight live and you were near him, you'd be hearing like Waterson like grimace, like you'd be hearing her say stuff. You'd be hearing her how much the shots are taken out of her to the body and that. And you'd see shots in the clinch that you look relatively innocuous on TV, but in like when you're there, you can hear them. You can hear the shots, and it's just different. Okay. Ophon says Red Pill MMA is pretty good too, but a touch too much anger for me. Shout out to Red Pill MMA. Look, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says, but like I said before, I think you need to have that other side of it. You need to have people like that are going against the narrative. You do need that. Otherwise, it's just, yeah. Thrill House says, just came here to complain about the Malkoon situation. Total stud that got robbed due to someone blatantly abusing the situation. Look, I was going for Jacob. I think there was no way of Brundage beating him, but I find it very hard to be able to say that wasn't an elbow to the back of the head. And you got to remember that Brundage doesn't owe you anything. He's not your mate. He's not Jacob's mate. He doesn't owe Jacob I'm going to fight on. He took a way out for victory, for money, for his family. I can't fault him on that. I was going for Jacob. I 100% do not believe that there is any way of Brundage beating Jacob. There was none outside of just catching him with something. There was just no way he was going to beat him. But he doesn't owe you anything. He doesn't have to go, no, I'll keep fighting so you get your money because you're going to beat the fuck out of me, because he was definitely going to beat the fuck out of him. He doesn't owe him that, you know what I mean? And so it is what it is. Yeah, welterweight's a bit like that too. That's a kid like where they kind of just fighting each other, you know, those like where you got Shavkat, Rakhmonov, you have a whole bunch of other dudes there that by all intents should be able to be like right there contending for the belt, you know. If we're just having new blood in there, like if for nothing else, you know. Like, I don't know how many rematches Usman had. You know what I mean? Nothing against Usman. Usman's fantastic. But there were other guys he could have fought, you know what I mean? Rather than just see like Masvidal and Covington, you know, like just they've had 4 fights each or something, like 4 fights with Usman, like in total amongst themselves. Like it's kind of weird. Sorry, I'm going to miss a few. Ophon says, it is sad to see the physical decline of someone that was once unstoppable, though. Yeah, man. Yeah, it is fucking horrible, man. Fucking Thrill House says, Waterson's 9 times tougher than Cody Brundage. Thrill House, you horrible man. like I said to you, he doesn't owe you that. You know, he doesn't owe you that. He doesn't owe you to keep fighting. He doesn't owe anyone that. Oliver Ekman says, ref watched the 4th round of Jan versus Aldo and said, I could do better than that. Fuck me dead, eh? Ophon says, Weidman is still super tough, man. He was taking some crazy leg kicks by the one dude. Yeah, by Tavares. Yeah, but this is what I mean. I don't care, like, if you're super tough. Like, I don't, it's not, I'm the biggest Weidman fan. I'm the biggest Weidman fan. Like, I've always been a fan. I thought he was amazing. But there's a point where you're no longer going to win fights, or you're not going to, if you do win a fight, you're going to take a huge amount of damage for it. And that makes me sad. Do you know what I mean? That makes it hard to watch. Like, Michelle Waterson shouldn't be fighting. That's my opinion. Do you know what I mean? She shouldn't be fighting anymore. You can't take beatings like that. This is fucking stupid. It's not right. And it's not about, I've still got the will to fight. I've still got, I 100%, I don't doubt her toughness, and I don't doubt her spirit. And I don't doubt that she still has the abilities. But unfortunately, people don't understand. And this is something that's real. And this is why you can't just go, oh, well, it's her decision. Nah, dude. I don't think people fully understand what the damage is that's being caused and what the price is that you're going to pay later in life. You know what I mean? Like the onset of some of that brain damage that's going to occur in like later in life, and not even that much later for her, if she keeps fighting like that. That's a thing people don't understand, man. Like, and that's what I think is difficult. I'm just gonna skip a few people. Sorry, guys. Fuck, I skipping a lot. Yeah, Matt says, I'm on Waterson's team. I'm making sure that ref is never in the cage with her again. That ref hated her, dude. I don't know. I don't know if she owed him money. I don't know if she ripped him off in a fucking business deal. I don't know, but that was fucking weird, dude. Sorry, if I skip a few. B. Johnson says, Fab, how do you think Ian Gary matches up against the top guys at welterweight? Again, it's funny question, man. Is one of those things that I haven't seen enough of him. He's kind of like Topuria at featherweight, where he definitely looks good, but I haven't seen him against, I haven't seen enough of his body of work to be able to determine what he can and can't do against top end competition, so I don't know. I really don't know. I think that it's interesting as well how I think that the whole thing where Ian Gary, Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, and Shavkat all train together. I fully understand. I'm going to say this. I fully understand two people that have trained together for a long time, that have a special bond, a special relationship, because it's not easy to come by. Guys like Curtis and Strickland. Yes, there's people. I remember Fitch and Koscheck back in the day, McDonald and fucking St. Pierre. I understand people like that not fighting, but people that are, and they like, you've come up together, or one guy's mentored another one and helped them, and people don't understand how much people have helped you in the background. So I do understand the Mirab and Aljo not fighting for a title thing. I don't understand the Mirab not fighting for a title at all if Aljo's not fighting. But I definitely understand that. But I don't understand when you go to these big gyms, you're not really like friends like that. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Maybe they are. So that's a weird one. I think Ian Gary, the best Ian Gary, probably going to see him at middleweight. To be honest with you, I think he's only a young guy and he looks to be pretty big. So I don't think that I think he'll probably end up at middleweight. So I think long term, it's more how does he match up at middleweight, I think. And I think welterweight has generally got, there's just more people there. So people generally, welterweights that go up to middleweight generally do pretty well. Cooper Marion says, if you're talking about your toughness, it usually means you were technically and athletically outmatched. Yes, I agree with you, man. And that's where I don't doubt Michelle. I'm not making fun of her. I'm not thinking, I don't doubt. I've met her. She's a fucking lovely person, really, really nice person. That's what makes me sad watching that, you know. Chris Weidman, fuck man, biggest fan. I've had him on the podcast. He's a great guy, you know. I don't doubt his fucking toughness. I don't doubt her toughness. I don't doubt the dog in them. You know what I mean? I don't doubt how fucking tough these people are. But like, there's a point, man, where you're not winning these fights anymore. You know what I mean? And you're not. And even if you are winning the fights, you're taking too much damage. There's a point. Even if you're winning fights, it's not the point. You're just taking too much damage. I don't know anything about Bryce and his ex. Sorry. Let me see. Matt says Waterson's usually pretty good at keeping herself relatively safe. I can only imagine what the girl would have done to Angela Hill. Yeah, look, I've seen Waterson take beatings though before, you know, and that's why when you asked me who the thing's going to win, I was like, I don't see her winning this fight at all. Actually, yeah, Neil Magny is actually a fucking nice guy. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened with that. I've met Neil as well. He's a good dude. Like there's just fucking. I'm not a big fan of like bravado and celebrations in situations where you're clearly there to fucking beat this guy. You know what I mean? Like this guy's like been good enough to be the lamb to the slaughter for you. You know what I mean? Like I don't get that. I don't get like when people act like, but then when they get their ass beat, like it's all quiet time. I don't really get that. Let me just keep going. So Merab sacrificed his career. I don't know, like I don't know the whole story there. You know what I mean? I don't know what the UFC is doing. I definitely think that if he has a title shot opportunity, he should take it. You know, if it's not against Aljo, I completely understand him. You don't understand as well. Like people don't understand. Like sometimes, say for example, you're a young guy, whether you're new to the country or not, and then somebody is good enough to take you under their wing, bring you into a camp, bring you into a good team. Like it's fucking hard to find a good team of people that you gel with. You know what I mean? That look after you. And there's a lot of things, man, that you don't know and you'll never know where goes on between people. To turn around and fuck that person over or to fight them it's hard, man. It's not a fucking nice thing to do, you know? And probably Mirab might not have been in the position he's even in had he not met Aljo. This is a real thing, and he probably knows this. And so he's loyal to that. I respect that. I don't understand him not taking the title fight if Aljo's not the one getting it. That I don't understand. Ron McKenzie says, hey, Fab, what motivates you to train? The older I get, the harder it is to get started. Any suggestions? There's motivation and there's discipline as well. Like, man, my dad, I'm just going to share this with you guys. My dad's going through some really hard stuff at the moment with a form of Parkinson's, you know, and I realized that you have to create the habits when you're young. Not that it would have stopped what he has, but the earlier you can create positive habits, when it's easy, the better it's going to be. Like even with fighting, I see fighters that didn't create good habits, and I can see it, or sometimes I know them, and they got by on their youth and athleticism. And then when you have to have the habit of doing the hard work, you don't really have it. You know what I mean? And that's difficult to get. And it's the same thing for me. Like when I watch it, I have to go and train, even if I don't want to, because I know that as I get older, it's going to become harder. It's only going to hurt more. It's not going to get easier. It was easier for me to train 2 years ago than what it is now. I'm going to be 44 in June, and it's easier for me to train now. I got really bad knees, so it's not. I have to understand that I have to create these habits and I have to train. The other thing to get started, man, it's one of these things like you just got to start, and it sounds stupid what I just said. It's like tautology. What's the best way to start is start. But I think one of the things that I try and do with that, because I've been in those positions where I haven't been in a good mental health spot, but starting by like saying, all right, I'm going to start walking and just walk. Don't make the situation more than what it has to be, because then you can walk and you say, I'm going to walk, I don't know, for an hour. I'm going to walk to the shops and back or however thing it is. But now you've started. Now you put 2 or 3 days of that together of just a walk. Then you can add something else to that. You can add some chin ups when you get to or some push ups when you get 5 push ups, and slowly start, because it's fucking crazy. Like how hard it is to overcome that inertia. As soon as you overcome it, the results come really quick. They actually come relatively quickly. So I think just starting the motivation is I guess is nowadays for me is like just seeing situations where like I said, like with my dad, where the habits weren't necessarily put in place at an early enough stage. And then it just got harder and harder and harder and harder. And then life just fucking throws curveball after curveball at you. So I think that's one of the motivations for me. And then there's a discipline factor to it. It fucking hurts now to train, but I just do it. And then I also try and do things that I enjoy doing to maintain a healthy lifestyle. B. Johnson says, I've noticed Merab is vouching for himself a lot more nowadays. Don't blame him. He could be the best in the world. I agree. And B. Johnson says that Killcliff team is a lot different than the small team Alja and Merab are on. Absolutely. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, right on, Ben Johnson. Like, there's a big difference between you having a guy that you and you and 2 guys that came up training together in a fucking garage sometimes. You know what I mean? And fuck that. You're not going to fight that guy. But then you're at a big, massive gym and you just happen to be, it's fucking by happenstance. Let me see. Matt says, I have to think that maybe Merab had some other things going on, maybe hidden injuries aside from the hand that he doesn't want to disclose or something. Maybe. That 6 says, I'm not overly informed, but I'm pretty sure Bryce put out a post saying his ex was trying to murder his animals at his farm while he was out of town for his camp. Though that's not good. B. Johnson says, Cooper Marion, Bryce Mitchell seriously did that. Wow. SG says, I think people don't realize that it is not the actual fighting that Merab and Alja have a problem with. It's the circumstances around it. This could be true as well. Bodybuilding News says so much of life is momentum. Yeah, it absolutely is, man. Like with your training, with business, with heaps of stuff. Matt says, I'm 29, tendonitis in shoulder, forearms, arthritis, degeneration, neck on multiple levels. I don't regret martial arts. I regret not being smarter about it. Yeah, 100%, dude. And you have to get on to that now, Matt, before it creates habits where you're not training and you're not moving. You have to get on it. We're off, guys. 442 in the first round. Dan is in the orthodox stance. Bryce Mitchell in the southpaw stance. Dan fainting with kicks. Oh, nice left hook by Dan. I do think that Bryce is going to enter in on a single leg very early in this fight, just with the way they are southpaw to orthodox. Dan is a very complete fighter. But I do think that if Mitchell can impose his game here, we'll be able to get him down. Oh, nice combination there by Dan. Joseph says, Burns did fight Usman, so there is a precedent there. Yeah, but by that stage, they'd split camps. And again, like I said, I don't think these guys, they obviously didn't come up together either. You know what I mean? So there's a difference. There's a big difference. It's not like Rory McDonald and GSP, like, for example. That's a different story. There he is, deep on that single leg. Like I said, Dan just doing a good job of pushing the head down, lifting the bottom, butt dragging to try and defend this. And Mitchell's trying to switch to a double leg. Then he goes into a deep half, and Dan was able to defend that. Whilst he was able to defend that, I think Bryce Mitchell should go to it again. Nice calf kick by Bryce Mitchell. I think he should go to it again. Because there was a few little adjustments that could be made there where he could have switched that to a double leg and got that down, you know. Dan did a great job of defending that. And just getting out. A lot of the times people defend like they defend and then they keep going. Fuck you, Oliver Ekman. Fuck you, sir. Just to keep going with it. Ofon says, Joseph Orlola fighting Woodley. Yeah, I don't know how close they were either. Mitchell is up against the cage. You know, he got him down very good with a body lock. He's looking for the back. Dan does a good job of just getting back to his feet. See, that's what I was saying. I could see that Mitchell, if he just kept shooting, he will start to get some success with it. Whether or not he can do this the whole fight, I don't know. Yeah, Bryce Mitchell looks like he's hurt. And yeah, like you are right. Somebody mentioned, Matt, I think mentioned coming off the injury, if he has a cardio to chain wrestle. That was one of the biggest things that why I would have picked Bryce Mitchell in this fight is that his ability to chain wrestle the way that he would. Oh, nice left hand by Dan. And then he kicks, Bryce Mitchell kicks him in the nuts, but everything was good. No, that ability to chain wrestle is why I would have picked him in this fight. But he doesn't seem to be doing it as much as he did. Whether or not that's credit to Dan, whether that's because of an injury, I don't know. But he has the body lock from the back on Dan Ige after shooting a double leg. So maybe all of that conversation is null and void. He's looking for a hook. He could try a broomstick sweep here, and it looks like he is trying that. And there he gets him down, but Dan Ige he's got the guillotine, but he's going to go to the wrong side. I don't think he's going to catch. No, he's mounted too, so no, he can't. He's not going to get the guillotine. And Bryce is looking for a head arm choke. I didn't see that he was mounted, by the way, before people start to tell me that he couldn't have done it. He has the mount here. He's going to land some damage on Dan Ige. It's going to be hard to split this round then, because I do believe that Dan did the most damage, but now he is mounted and Bryce Mitchell is looking for this head arm choke and he's gaining some success here. Dan Ige is not doing the best jobs of defending that. I think he's going to run out of time though, but he is landing shots here. He is landing shots on Dan Ige as well. So I don't know. Oh, he's got the wrist right. Looking to transition to the back, flattens him back out against, keeps the mount. I find it hard to believe that you could give this round to anyone other than Bryce Mitchell at this stage. I don't know how the judges saw it. My opinion, I think that Bryce Mitchell won that round. That's me. Okay, so somebody wrote, Dan seems to just be on defending Bryce's entries rather than being offensive at the moment. I think Dan decided to wait out the round. Yeah, but he waited out the round in mount. That's not good. And it's very, very tiring to have somebody mounting you and landing strikes and attempting submissions. That's not fun at all. I don't know how much that exchange would have taken it out of him. How dare you, sir? Joseph, how dare you bring Mike Bell into this sanctity, into the sanctity of the podcast? How dare you? How dare you? I think Bryce will probably get Dan down again. And that did not look good for Dan. Like he did not escape the mount. It didn't come close to escaping it. I don't know. That didn't look good. That's just going to give Bryce a lot more confidence to just continue trying to take him down. and I think make Dan hesitant. So unless Dan catches him with something here, I think that Bryce is going to shoot in on that low single again and take him down and probably finish him this round. If it's indicative, yep, there's a low single again. Goes looking for the double leg. Good chain wrestling by Bryce Mitchell. He's going to get him down here. I don't think that Dan has the position here to defend that. He has to turn the corner here, does Bryce, but I'm sure Bryce knows what he's doing and doesn't need me telling him. Good defense by Dan. I didn't think that he would be able to defend it. Little knees up the middle by Bryce, and Bryce puts Dan against the cage one more time. I don't know, Ofon, the show that you're talking about. I'm aware that they have a show, but I don't know why you can and can't. What do you mean he's slick? You mean like he's slippery, or you mean he's slick as in like his technique? Oh, nice left hook by Dan. Lands it on Bryce Mitchell. I was high on Bryce Mitchell, but if he can't get you down, it looks like he has a few issues. You know what I mean? Yeah, he does. He is landing his shots, but he's also looks like he's having problems if Bryce Mitchell can get him down. Like that's one of the big issues there I see with him. I was surprised that Bryce Mitchell was able to hold him down the way that he did. But nice defense by Dan, who takes an underhook, throws Bryce Mitchell to the ground. Bryce Mitchell takes guard, is looking to elevate and sweep, but doesn't get it. He regains his guard. He's holding Dan down. He's looking for a rubber guard entry. Man, he's got the wrist control. If he can get that leg free, it'd be surprised if he got him with something like that. Knee up the middle by Bryce Mitchell. 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go in the second round. I think Bryson Mitchell, if he can't get this takedown, it's going to be awful night for him. I really thought he had better stand up, Bryce Mitchell. I really thought he did. Low single leg. Dan does a good job of turning and defending it. Throws a knee up the middle, does Bryce. Dan with a nice high guard. Dan lands that left hook on Mitchell. There he goes looking for it. Yep, from a switch stance. But he gets a nice takedown and once again gets the mount with 2 minutes to go. This is the problem. Dan has done some good work on the feet, but I don't think it's going to be the same amount of work because they kind of split the round. But and this is something that people don't understand. If you're fucking mounted, the offense that you can put up is like less than minimal. You know what I mean? It's like almost non-existent. Does a good job. He looks like he's going to get up. Bryce Mitchell has taken the back. Same as if a guy takes your back like this. There's not a great deal you're going to be doing. He's looking for this choke. It looks like his arm is in pretty deep. Like there's not you're not launching any offense from that perspective. Like so before people go, but Dan landed so much more damage. He did, but Bryce was also landing stuff. Whereas when you get mounted or your back taken like this, all you're doing is defending. All you're doing is defending. So I've got to, if this whole round stays like this, I don't know if I give. It's hard one to judge. That's all I'm saying is how I see the fight. You know. Like all you're doing is defending here. Whereas Bryce at least threw stuff back. He's looking for that head arm choke again. He had his back. Then he's gone back to mount. He's got the head arm choke. He's probably going to get it, actually. He looks like he's a little bit high for the head arm choke, a little bit high. And I don't know that he's even trying necessarily to finish his 24 seconds at this stage from this position, whereas he's just cooking him here. You know what I mean? This is a very hard position for Dan. I think there's going to be a little bit of a squeeze from Bryce. Nah, he's out. But he's smart. Bryce is smart. He's just held him in mount and had his back for the second half of the round. That's the time. It's interesting. I don't know how to call this fight. Come here. These are my assistants. Say hello. Say hello. And you come here. Hiya. Say hello as well. Hello. And what about you? You say hello, Jeddah. Say hello. Yeah. I don't know who won. I don't know. I don't know if you can say. I don't know if you can say that split. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can, because maybe Bryce won both those rounds. I don't know. You can't call that a robbery either way. I definitely think that Dan did the most damage. Dan did the most damage, but on the also on his, like, when you're on your back and somebody, like I said earlier, when you're on your back, someone's got the mount and is just beating you up or going for submissions, all you're doing is defending. And if somebody takes your back, all you're doing is defending. You're not launching any attacks. Definitely the visible damage is done by Dan. So it's going to be interesting how this fight scored, because the judges can see that consistently, and that speaks to the judges a lot. The little cyber criminal is this one. This is the cyber criminal. The other one is our apprentice.
Which was the side?
You. Espera que tengo que hablar. Okay, so 449 in the third round. Bryce throws a left kick to the open side of Dan and once again shoots a single leg. He's looking for the trip. He gets it. He takes the back of Dan, jumps onto his back. He's looking for a broomstick sweep, but he's trying to transition to the back. He's looking for the broomstick again. He's looking for this broomstick sweep. Is he going to get it? Now he's just sitting down, creating weight, riding the upper body of Dan over. Dan is trying to cover him. He looks like he might, and he has, but Bryce is still more than halfway to his back because he's cleared the armpit. Dan has done a good job of controlling that leg, trying to pin him down to the mat, but he's going to take his back. He is going to take his back. He just has to elevate. Here, when you're in these sort of positions, it's the elevation of the hips that's going to win the position. So whoever can get their hips higher is going to win. But now with that body triangle, he's going to be able to transition easily to the back, is Bryce Mitchell, and he's succeeded in doing so. He's got a modified half Nelson on the far arm. And I don't think Dan is going to get out of this, especially because Bryce Mitchell doesn't have to save his legs past this round. So he can just squeeze the shit out of him for the whole round. Give me 1 second. Anda con tu mamá. Anda con mamá. Porque anda. Go with mommy, Jeddah. Anda con mamá. Porque yo tengo que trabajar, baby. Anda. Great job of Bryce Mitchell. I don't think he's going to get out of here. Ofon says, wait a sec. Fab habla español también? Yes, I do. So my first language. Okay, just a second, guys. Just a second. Come on, let's go. I'm talking to people on the podcast. They were well behaved for a second. I'm back, people. I apologize for those monsters that came into the podcast room. It reminds me of when you hear about like rappers that their like studio gets raided and robbed. That's what happened to me. My studio got raided and robbed by Asian criminals. For sure, triads of some description. So now he's transitioned to the mount. He's doing a great job of riding that leg too. Very, very nice job by Bryce Mitchell. And transitions once again to the back. Is Dan going to be able to get up? Good chain wrestling by Bryce. Again, he's not going to get away from him, I don't think. There's 2 minutes to go. Nice knee to the head by Bryce. And a broomstick sweep attempt again. He's got the hook in. Great job. The broomstick sweep is such a good mat return, man. Such a good mat return. Folk style has so many good moves that you can do and you can chain together. That's one of the best things about folk style wrestling. That one of the biggest benefits of folk style. Nice pick up, double leg, dumps him, and Dan goes looking for a takedown of his own. He's relatively successful with it, but Bryce enters in a Kimura, so he's looking for the Kimura. Dan's holding onto the leg. Nice little elbows by Bryce. There's 1 minute to go. I was very high on Bryce at one stage, but whilst I think he's going to win this fight, I think he probably will. I'm not as high as I was on him before. He's very, very good. You know, he's looking for this Kimura. And Dan is holding on here. But see, I don't know what the judges can see. Not all the judges can see the same thing, at the same time. And it's how it really is. It's like how you interpret things. I'm not saying that the way I interpret things is 100% right. Good job by Dan. But I can't see that you've given both rounds to Dan, like both first and second to Dan. And unless, Dan is looking for a mount now, 8 seconds to go, and you can't give this round to Dan. So I can't see how you give the fight to Dan at all. And that's a wrap. That's a fight. Ofon, you know what? You said it exactly right. Like, he looks more like top 10 instead of top 5. And I don't know if is he ranked in the top 5? No, but I know exactly what you mean. Like when you watch that, you don't go, he's number 10. Yeah, he's number 10. But you look, when you're watching this fight, he looks like he's that, like a number 10 guy in the world. It doesn't look like I'm not saying he can't. It doesn't look like he's going to be a top 5 guy. Not with that performance. I'm not saying he can't ever be. I'm just saying it didn't look like he would be. I'll be back in 1 second, guys. Mingle amongst yourselves. I am back, folks. I'm here. So what? Let me see. I just missed the result. What was the result? I just missed it. There's a lot of hugging on the ground, people on their knees. I wonder what they're saying to each other. I wonder if they're trading recipes. Fried rice, mate. The secret is to make sure that you cook the onions first. I think that's what Bryce Mitchell is saying to him right now. And Dan saying, I understand. A lot of the times, if you don't brown the onions first, then it's going to make life difficult. It's not going to taste as good, and the rice should be a little bit older, should be a couple of days old. I think that was the conversation that was taking place then. From my understanding, I could be wrong. Yeah, so Bryce Mitchell versus Dan was a unanimous decision. I 100% agree with that decision. Not high on the performance necessarily. I just not because I actually really enjoy grapple fuck wins, but it just wasn't done in a way where you go fuck that. That was a complete domination, because I think when you fight like that, you have to have a very, very, very imposing style with your grappling. Otherwise, it's not good. It's not a good look, and that one looked a little bit loose, you know what I mean? So that was a bit scary. I would never, ever fucking have picked Cody Brundage. No offense, Cody, but I never would have picked him to beat Jacob. Never. And he didn't beat him. He got DQ'd, but I didn't have my bases covered, because I thought the only way he beats Jacob is with a lucky shot. That's the only fucking way he beats him. But no. Disqualification. Haven't I got egg on my face? Ofon says, any of y'all think Oliveira will have a better showing versus Islam next? He's definitely capable of it, man. Like, Oliveira is no joke. So he's definitely capable of beating Islam. Does he do it? I don't know. You know what I mean? I really don't know. Again, man, like I said before, like, you got to understand, like, there's not much in that. You know what I mean? He threw a few up kicks in there. Could have changed the game. You know what I mean? He could have changed the game for him. So I don't know. That's a kid says, I'm praying for Oliveira in the Islam fight, but waiting for 100% upgrade before I bother. Okay. Now, I think that Oliveira's absolutely capable. He's a big guy, hits hard. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. It wasn't, again, like, people look at things like it didn't happen the way that necessarily people say it happened, because the difference there wasn't necessarily Islam's grappling per se. Like, not only Islam's grappling, the thing that Islam has is that he was willing to follow Charles to the ground. But when he was on the ground, because he clobbered Charles with that right hand after Charles threw the jumping switch knee. Then he got clobbered with that right hook when he fell to the ground there. That's when Islam went through him like butter. But the other exchanges on the ground, man, Charles put the leg lock on him, wrestled up from that position. He did some good things, man. He had really good up kicks, threw up some triangles. Like, it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be a very, very interesting fight. Ofon says, I think a lot of people like me were underestimating Islam's sound striking, defense, and offense. I think that is 100% on point. Islam kind of looks like, in a way, like slow and plodding when he's striking, but he catches people, man. He catches people really, really well. Like, he obviously has heavy hands, and he's sound with the way he throws it. You know what I mean? And he's got that nice leg kick, the nice left kick that he throws both to the body and to the head. And he does that with relative ease and without a lot of tell. He surprised me, his striking against Charles, but even more so against Alex. I really thought Alex was going to pump him if they stayed standing. And that wasn't the case. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I have a red bean bun. You know, that's one of the great benefits of living with my Asian people that I have here. That's why I was so upset that they didn't stop the fight against with a fellow Asian, Michelle Waterson. Yeah, he did very well against Volkanovski on the feet. I honestly thought like Volkanovski was going to absolutely fucking pump him on the feet. That's what I thought. And I thought, again, you know when people say someone looked slow? And I don't say this because I've taken away from Alex, because I don't. But that was one fight that when I was watching it, I thought Islam looked different in that fight. And I thought, I hope Alex pumps him. That's no offense to you, Islam. But I looked at him and I thought, man, he's not, he doesn't, there was something about him that was a little bit off. And I thought, I hope fucking Alex smashes him. But then the way that fight went, I was really impressed with his stand-up. I was really, really, really impressed with his stand-up. Matt says, Chinese fiance, the Chinese New Year mooncakes are the bomb. Mooncakes are the best. Oliver Ekman, red beans. Red beans make up the red bean bun. I also thought Fiziev would continue demolishing Gaethje in the second and third rounds like he did in the first. The problem is, I picked Gaethje in the fight because he can so good at taking a shot and just keeps coming. Crazy gas tank. Ofon says, same for Khabib. Khabib was very good defensively, but not as good offense as Islam. The way, like, the tactics were the same for Khabib and Islam, but the way they went about implementing them are completely different because they're technically different. So very, very different. Matt says, the trade-off I see with Islam is he's more confident in striking than Khabib, but his grappling transitions are not as snappy. The thing is that when Islam gets on the ground with you, he's grappling you and he's looking for submissions, looking for different things. Whereas Khabib, when he gets you down, he'll hit you and move from there. And so it's very different with the way they grapple. Very, very different. Not good or bad. Both of them have good points and strong points. That's a kid says, I always felt that Khabib had so much success in his stand-up due to the threat of his takedown being so infamous. Yeah, but people forget, early on in his UFC reign, Khabib wasn't necessarily feared on the ground at the start. People forget that. They just thought he'd hold you down, at the start, because in a lot of his fights, he didn't do crazy amounts of damage at the start. Ofon says, I got to say, I wasn't a fan of Islam merely holding Volks back to stall. You got to understand, dude, like, if you take someone's back, you're not stalling. Keeping a position like the back is huge. So you only one like tiny mistake from Alex away from you choking Alex. So if you take someone's back, it's on them to get out. You've got a dominant position. You're not going to be an idiot and give up that position for nothing. And he's not doing it to a nobody. He's doing it to one of the best fighters ever. Fiziev looks fucking jacked, man. It looks like he was on his way to a fucking natural bodybuilding contest and pulled over to have a fight. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but it does look like you'd cast him in it. It's going to be a good fight, man. This guy looks in such good shape, eh? Yeah. I don't remember exactly which fight it was. Let me look it up. It was either the Barboza fight. It was either the Barboza fight or the Michael Johnson fight. That Khabib was like, fuck. It was like, that was his coming of age. You know what I mean? That was a coming of age fight for Khabib. Let me see. Yeah, I think it was a Michael Johnson fight. For me, it was a Rafael dos Anjos fight, just because who Rafael was at the time. But prior to that, I mean, after that was a Michael Johnson fight where it was a bad beatdown, really bad beatdown. But he didn't inspire the same amount of fear, I think, until that Michael Johnson, Edson Barboza kind of fights. They were the really scary ones that brought it back, who, you know, the legend of who he was around. Yeah, that one. Oliver Ekman, that one. Matt says, as a bodybuilder, a lot of these guys would place in shows if they competed, all while doing the exact opposite of bodybuilding training. It's funny, man, because with a lot of that stuff, genetics has a lot to do with it. At that time, if you beat RDA, you were probably going to compete for the belt at some point. Going back to the bodybuilding thing, there's a guy I used to train, right? Name's Izifiti Kefu. And he fights in 1FC. And his dad was like an ex-rugby league football player, professional player. And he fucking he was a student at TAFE with a friend of mine who was a teacher. He was a big fucking Tongan unit, big unit. My Izzy's dad, and he did bodybuilding for like, I don't know, he's a big lean guy, real lean muscular guy. He did bodybuilding for like 4 weeks or something, and he placed in the top 3 in Mr. New South Wales. He just looked like He was about to step on stage when he was walking to the shops. Joseph says, I remember watching the Johnson fight. You can see the will of Johnson welterweight coming into the last round. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But I'll also remind you, he clobbered Khabib in that fight. You talk of life trajectories. Where would that have gone if he had knocked Khabib out, of all people? All right, we're off. We're about to start. Fiziev looks ready to go. They both do. Gamrot looks, again, a lot longer than Fiziev, actually, like when you see him like this, which is going to be interesting because then Fiziev has to overcome that to really put his striking into play. And Gamrot wants that takedown. Both guys kind of holding the center, actually. It's very interesting. Gamrot moving laterally. So is Fiziev. Gamrot's jabs. Ooh. Fiziev answers with a right hand. A counter to Gamrot's jab. Fiziev goes looking for a jab to the body. Left kick to the open side. A switch kick by Fiziev. That's one of his trademark kicks. Both these guys very tentative, respecting each other. Goes looking for a right high kick, does Gamrot. Left kick to the body by Fiziev. They're just outside of each other's range. It's very, very interesting the way that this is happening. And it's actually interesting the way they're both holding the center of the octagon. The Gaethje fight, he ate a couple as well. And that's just life, dude. And he could have lost the decision against Gleason. And it wouldn't have been a bad call. It's just so it's funny, the trajectory in your life, how it goes. Oh, nice combination by Fiziev. Goes a rip to the body and a right overhand. Nice work by Fiziev. Didn't land flush. But Gamrot's got to get to wrestling. 2 minutes and 52 seconds to go in this first round. Nut shot. Fiziev doesn't take a break. Oh, goes looking for a right hand. Does Fiziev. Oh, showing off amazing flexibility from the low single leg. He elevated it, and Fiziev was able to defend that takedown. This is going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be interesting. Can Fiziev keep... I do believe that the first round is going to tell the tale, but Fiziev hasn't gotten his game off either. How much is that Gamrot making him hesitate? I don't know. Gamrot's fighting out of the southpaw stance now. Switches to orthodox. Fiziev still staying just outside of the range. Neither one of these guys is in... Oh, nice right hand by Gamrot. Little right hand straight down the pipe. Goes again looking for a right hand, does Gamrot. The problem is guys at Fiziev get a very good read on you, especially early on. And if you're throwing those naked lead right hands, you stand to get countered. Nice kick by Gamrot. At this stage of the fight, neither one of them has imposed their game. Yeah, his style has to change here. If he just comes barging in, he's going to get taken down. The thing I see interesting is like Gamrot usually would have shot about 37 takedowns by now if he hadn't got the first one. So it's interesting that this that we're not seeing the shots. Ekman, you are the glue that holds this place together, my friend. Now it's interesting because Gamrot's starting to walk him down a little bit. Now he's starting to take the center of the octagon a little bit. Lands a jab, lands a body kick. He's starting to. Fiziev is fighting him back, getting his real estate back, but it's not a good sign if Gamrot starts to walk you down. It takes away from your kicks and allows him to shoot. So I definitely see, nice calf kick by Fiziev. He drops Gamrot and spins him around. They both hit each other there. They both hit each other. Gamrot has to get this to the ground, I think. Nice shot in again. Goes looking for the single leg. He's got control of the single leg, reshoots. He's again on the single leg. Fiziev scrambles for his life, and eventually the round ends and Gamrot gets him down. This is interesting. This is very, very, very interesting because what that's shown as well is that he can get him down. He can get him down, This would be very, very big for Gamrot's confidence. And Fiziev looks patient, but he also looks a little hesitant. And I think that was very telling. I think that's going to make Gamrot double down on the takedowns a little bit more because I think that he knows that he can take him down. And they both know this now. He got him down. That's very telling. Because the question there for me was, is he going to get him down? Neither one of them has actually imposed their momentum on this fight at this stage, though, which was what I said. I said, I think that whoever imposes their momentum or gets the momentum going, rather, in their favor is going to win the fight. But neither one of them has managed to do it. No, I have no idea who won it. I'd probably venture to say Gamrot may have won it, just how I was seeing the fight. But I don't know who won that round. And that's one of those things, man, when you're watching the fights, like you don't know. Mike Bell scored that at 10-7 to Fedor Emelianenko. Okay, Fiziev in the... Oh, he goes looking for it, and there's Gamrot. I told you, Gamrot shot in straight away. He knows he can get the takedown now. He knows this. He's comfortable with it, and he's taken Fiziev down. Now, this is going to be a very telling part of the fight. If he can break Fiziev down now and gain control, I do think he's going to win this fight. Fiziev is doing everything he can to get to the cage on all fours and stand up. He's leaning his shoulder in. He's doing all the right things. But Gamrot, this is Gamrot's world, and he loves it. The thing that Gamrot now does have, which is a hard thing to get, is that far leg in, that far hook. He's got that in, and that's a very big part of controlling someone against a cage. It's a hard hook to get in. Volkanovski does a good job of hip bumping and getting that hook in, and Gamrot has it. Now, Fiziev, very smart. Fiziev was able to turn the corner, and so now he doesn't give that hook to Gamrot, but Gamrot goes once again looking for it. Very, very, that was very cool from both of them. Gamrot's doing a good job here. Fiziev's doing a good job of defending the takedown, but again, it's like kind of not the same, but kind of like the same thing with the Bryce Mitchell fight in that when you're defending this, and that's all you're doing, even if you're doing a good job of defending the takedown, all you're doing is defending. Nice job by Fiziev. Nice job. But that's 2 minutes burnt off the clock. Oh, he hurt himself. He fucking hurt himself. And that's the fight. I think he broke his leg, man. I think he broke his leg. If that ref, the Michelle Waterson fight was there, he would fucking grab Fiziev and make him keep fighting. Fiziev, I think Fiziev broke his leg. I think he broke his leg. Like he kicked, and I think he kicked, and that happened. Let's see. Yeah, it might have been the other leg. Yeah, it might have been the other leg that he did. Yeah, it looks like he did his left knee. Kicked with his right and blew out his left knee. Oh, my God. Poor guy. Yeah, it was his left knee, so it was the other leg. So I don't think he broke it, but it looks like he would have probably torn something, or yeah, maybe his kneecap dislocated. I don't know. I can't tell, but he definitely didn't look like fun. Matt says we're going to bring the doctor in for Zev. Can you continue? Dude, that doctor, man, he would have fucking. It was like when I talked to my daughters. It reminded that doctor was like me talking to my daughters in the supermarket or something, where I go, "Don't fucking embarrass me. Don't do this. Be quiet. Be good. No, just be quiet." And I think that's how he was talking to Waterson. He was like, "Don't you fucking embarrass me. Get back in the cage and keep fighting." That's how I feel that doctor was with Waterson. That was fucking wrong. But yeah, if that ref could keep the fight going, he would. Poor old Fiziev. That was looking like such a good fight too. I love those stylistic matchups, and fair play to Gamrot. You know what I mean? He was starting to get his game going, but yeah, like Mario Ekman says, if Mario was there, he'd have to break both legs. Yeah, that was man, Fiziev, poor old Fiziev. They had a couple of like, you know, it was an interesting fight. This was going good. The truth will always come to light. MF Gamer, MF Gamer. Wow, okay. The guy at light heavyweight, I'm waiting to come back, is the one that injured his leg when the Polish dude checked one of his kicks. The Serbian guy. Rakic? Yeah, Rakic. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's good. He's very, very, very good. Oh, man. Poor old Fiziev. That was a big fucking fight that they were. Yeah, it looked good, man. They both looked good. I can't say they didn't look good. Like his takedown defense was good against a guy like Gamrot that's going to wrestle. And Gamrot showed that he can get Fiziev down, who's traditionally been very hard to get down. So, you know, I would have liked to have seen the whole fight. I don't know how talented he is. Like Rakic is pretty talented, but there are a lot of physically talented guys. And that, man, that was it. I'm gonna do a Tuesday midday show. So please tune in on Australian Eastern Standard Time. I've already done the breakdown for Oliveira versus Islam. It's already up for Joseph. It's already up. You just have to go on the YouTube channel. It's already up. I already did the breakdown. So I don't know. I might repost it now. You know what I mean? Like before the fight, but it's definitely up. Yeah. So please go and watch it. That was a bit, yeah, you know. Oliver Ekman says Fab's far ahead of everyone. Yeah, no, that I probably shouldn't have put it out that early, but yeah, no, I definitely put it up. So I don't know if I should repost it or not. I don't know how that works. I think so. That's a kid says can't be much worse than getting an injury like that and copying a few on the ground after. In fairness, it was probably that ring physician telling Gamrot to do it. He goes, you better fucking hit this guy. You better fucking hit him some more. That's what I think that would have happened. So yeah. Anyways, guys, join me on Tuesday at midday. I think I'm going to repost the breakdown for Oliveira and Oliveira and Makhachev. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already and share with your friends. Thank you, guys, and take care.